Hey, good morning or good evening. I hope everyone is well. This is Dennis Franks, Executive Vice President with Market America, and I'm joined by our Vice President of Sales, Jim Winkler.
Good
And
evening, everyone.
it is a good time for us to get together, and I hope this session is very helpful and help you to become more confident as you go out and build relationships and talk to people about opportunity, talk about business, identifying whether or not they're keeping their options open. But this is something that we have had over the years to help people through to understand that there are distinct differences between your unfranchised business, network marketing, and multi-level marketing. And our session today is going to attack this topic and help you understand better so you're more comfortable and confident when you're engaged in a conversation that's related to this topic. Jim?
So much of our business is based on posture and knowing what you really have, especially when you're out and you're qualifying prospects and you're talking to people. Somebody brings something up and you're not quite sure. I know when I was new, I did not understand all these differences. I had zero background in any kind of home-based business or even owning any business. And it took me researching other companies to really figure out why our company was so special, what we did, where JR's vision was with that. And I'll tell you, Dennis, when I did the research and I learned it, then I really knew when someone talked to me, I could stand tall and I could tell them why we're different, why we'll work if you'll work. And that's what I think Dennis and I are hoping to give you today is those sort of arrows in your quiver to know what you've got so you never have to worry about anything happening as you talk to somebody.
Great. And I have to just share with everyone, you may not know our backgrounds. Jim, coming from a corporate background and coming into our unfranchised business, really came in committed. He had his blinders on. He was going to succeed. I've never seen anyone come and attack a business like Jim did when he first started. And it was great to see it because he was invincible in the way that he moved forward, because he took on challenges, he took on comments, he took on whatever came his way and found out the answers and learned from every experience. When I met J.R. Ridinger, I had already had 10 years experience in building multi-level marketing organizations. I first started with multi-level marketing with Cambridge Plan International, and that was back in 1982. And I had a very successful run with Cambridge, but they basically had a challenge, were not able to go over it, and the income that I built went away. I went on to a second network marketing company, a multi-level marketing company by the name of New Skin International. Had success there, but it really wasn't my area of passion. It was back in the 80s focused on skincare exclusively, and it was probably very dictated in how you were doing it, selling kits only. And then, moving on, I went back into the diet industry with the Micro Diet, a company out of the United Kingdom, and did fine. But here's the one thing I learned in my 10 years experience in multi-level marketing. It seemed like while I was successful on the frustration of many other people, and very few could make it to the point where they were earning consistent income. And even when you built your organization to earn consistent income, if the company that basically represented himself as a multi-level marketing company basically did not know how to grow as a multi-level marketing company and usually failed. I moved out of multi-level marketing and went into traditional franchising. The money that I earned in multi-level marketing, I ended up buying a franchise. It was called Mailboxes, etc. Today in the United States, they're called UPS stores. They're small business and postal outlets, and built it up to 7 different franchises. And what was really a learning experience as franchising to me, while it was systemized and it was very good and convenient to learn how to do the business, I basically bought myself a job And no matter what I did, it had to go back and take care of the business. Here, as we move forward and being introduced to Market Australia or Market America's unfranchised business plan, we see something totally different, revolutionizing an industry. What happened back in 1992 when it was first introduced. There was no question in my mind after saying no to my sponsor, J.R. Reidinger, some 4 times before sitting down with him and realizing and recognizing how he had changed in the industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, you are getting a conversation based on a company that had a vision that was to change an industry so that the average person could realistically and actively build their own business to create a 6-figure residual income. And I bought into that, and we have kept that focus now for 28 years. And that is a great deal of confidence. It should build a great deal of confidence for you. But Jim, talk to me why unfranchised owners are uncomfortable when this question comes up.
I think, Dennis, it comes down to education again. I know, when I started, and by the way, thank you for the compliment on there. I did put my head down. You'll do that when you need to make money or your family won't eat. So you get real serious about things. And I did do a lot of research. And I think what reason people get uncomfortable is they're starting something and they hear JR say it's not this or it's not that. But in their mind, they're still thinking it is, and they can't explain why it's different. They don't know the differences. And because something can look similar, they think, well, it's similar, so it's got to be the same. There are differences in our business that Dennis and I are going to talk about that may seem this small, but they're the difference between a company being here 28 years and a company being around 1 or 2 years. The difference between hundreds and thousands of people making money and 1 or 2 or 3 at the top making money. And I really think, Dennis, it just comes down to the education part of it and that fear. They fear it's not traditional. Are they going to make fun of me? Are they going to, their friends tried it and failed in something, and now they think I'm doing that. And I think I don't think that's unnatural. I just think the better educated you are on it, the better that all of us will do being able to explain why we're different, because you've got to have pride in our business, and that's you got to be standing tall and ready to go to battle, because every time you talk to somebody, it really is you versus them and who believes more in what's going on. That's the way I look at it. So I think that's what we run into.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And again, everyone that's listening to this today and tonight, I want you to know that whenever the question comes up, embrace the question. Whenever the comment comes up, embrace the comment, because it gives you another opportunity to listen on what people are thinking in their interpretation of the business that you're in. So let's talk a little bit about different types of companies and what their promises are. Go ahead, Jim, you can take this.
Yeah, and another part of that, Dennis, too, is sometimes the question isn't bad. I've had people straight out ask me, is this a pyramid? And they weren't asking it in a bad way. They just didn't understand they just wanted to understand what the structure worked with, and they weren't thinking it was bad. So don't automatically get negative when you hear things as well. Well, when you look at other companies, and I think a lot of us run into this in this day and age, you'll run into a company and they'll be talking to you or someone on your team, and they're going to promise quick upfront money, like they're going to pay for recruiting. Now, any of you have been around this industry for any period of time, here's a couple things I'll tell you. One, any company I've ever seen pay for recruiting is out of business within a couple years.
Amen.
Right? And two,
yes.
It's not legal to do that. And they're basically not, you have to pay on volume. Dennis said he owns 7 mailboxes, etc. Dennis, did you get paid on the number of employees you had, or the amount of volume that went through mailboxes, etc.?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I got paid definitely on the products and services sold to end consumers, and definitely not my employees.
Yeah, and that's what it doesn't even make business sense. I'm always trying to compare us back to a traditional business so people can relate it into their mind because that's what they're most familiar with. But a company that pays for recruiting, they're just trying to get some quick hits and then boom, they're gone. So if that ever happens, be very, very worried about that company because it'll probably be gone very quick. In the years, I know Dennis is, 27, 28 years in our company and me 23. We've seen this happen where a company comes in and somebody gets attracted to it. They're talking about how great it is and they come to us and they say, look at what they're doing. Can you do it? And the simple answer is no, we can't do it. It doesn't make sense and it's not legal. It's not going to be around. So we'd rather be here talking to you 20 years from now than done in a year.
You're exactly right. And one thing to really note, everyone that's listening, that whenever you're getting a promise to get paid for recruiting, that is one of the key problems with pyramids. Part of the definition of a pyramid primarily is getting paid to recruit people, not for getting products to end consumer. So this is a critical point when you want to tell someone one of the differences as to why this isn't a pyramid type scheme is that there is no payment for the recruitment or the expansion of distribution. And that's a big thing to remember. I'm going to hit the second point about they're going to tell you that you don't have to do too much work. I made this problem. I made this a problem for me early on because I said, man, you just have to build 2 organizations, just 2. It's a piece of cake. Now, when I was in multi-level marketing, we had to build 8, 9, 10, 15 wide, okay? And so that was hard. So when I first learned about that this company could build a 6-figure residual income with just 2 organizations, man, it seemed like you didn't have to do much, but still it was based on you had to work. And I learned very quickly because people came back and basically were upset with me because they said this was work and it wasn't easy, and so I changed that position very quickly. So you don't want to get there, but when people say, oh, you don't have to do anything, and you're going to make money, it's so easy, you've got to really be concerned about that comment.
Yeah, you got to be smarter than that because if it were that way, it would work for everybody, and everybody would do it that way. So again, always be aware if someone's telling you don't have to do anything. I'll take the third one, Dennis, and this is one of my favorites because typically if somebody, a new company's coming out and they're talking to people, one of the things they'll talk about is, well, we only have one product or service. It's simple, market Australia, market America. You got all these different products. It's confusing. You got the shopping annuity. How does anybody know about any of that? And they'll say our business is simple. All you do is move one product, put people on auto ship, and that's all you have to do. Well, here's the problem with that. If that one product gets copied, or if that one product has a problem, or eventually people start stockpiling 1 or 2 products because they don't have any diversity, they drop out of the business. And I know, Dennis, we've seen companies that have gone, straight up, did great. They really grew for a year or 2 and then just crashed and they were gone in the 3rd or 4th year because they never had that brokerage concept that we do. I'm proud of the fact that we have a lot of different, this is our security. This is our future, that no matter what happens, we'll come out with what's hot and go get it. So that one, to be simple is also to be broke.
Very good point. And I do want to bring up something for everybody to think about. And this is a little bit deeper. And whenever you have these conversations with people, when they're saying it's this or it's that, I want to just give you this insight. When J.R. Reininger, the founder of this company, built this company, he did not build it with a product. What he built it was with a formula, with a mathematical equation. You see, many of the multi-level marketing companies that come out with a single product or a single line basically build their pay plan based on the margins that are in that product, what they can buy it for, what they can sell it to their distributor, and then what they could put it out there at retail. And in this case, Market America, Market Australia basically created a formula that any product or service could be put in and it would work. And thus, our ability to create a product brokerage environment was very special, knowing that every product has a cycle and we would always have the next best product as it comes in. So this was a big part of what we committed to back when we started the company, that it wasn't going to be a one product or one service company, that it was going to offer a variety of products and markets to work with. So we were not limited to who we could basically qualify for the business. If you're selling only cosmetics, you're looking for people who want to sell cosmetics. If you're selling for wellness, you're looking for people who want to sell nutrition. If you're looking for finances, you're looking for people who want to do finances. So again, we can find anybody with a passion within any of our $12 billion markets, and they can be driven based on a single pay plan. So it's a powerful part of what we do.
So good. You want to talk about getting in on the ground floor, Dennis?
When
someone says, hey, you can get in on the ground floor of this company.
Well, the first thing I respond to is run. Hey, it's sort of like the guy who sells the fake watch on the corner or the fake purse on the side of the road. Say, hey, come on, I got me one of these Chanels I can sell you, or a Rolex. And
Rolex.
Yeah, a Rolex. Yeah, and it's a channel purse. But you know, it's funny. It's important when people are trying to hook you on be the first in. Well, ladies and gentlemen, being the first in, yeah, there's a possibility that you can have the largest return, and but 99% of the times, that's why people don't start businesses, because it's a high risk. And you know, I worry about that because too many people today bite on this all the time. You know, well, Market Australia has been around for 18 years. You know, everybody knows about it. No, we're still the best kept secret in all of Australia. And we don't have to entice people by saying, hey, get in on the ground floor. You can be first. You can be at the top of the pyramid. Wrong. You don't want to go there.
You know, the other thing with that, Dennis, I've always thought about, one of the things I loved about our business is it's not your position of when you start, what year, where you're at, it's what you do with it. You can out earn the people above you. And you know, if getting in on the ground floor is that important, then I wouldn't be one of our top money earners, because I didn't start on the ground floor. I started in the company's 6th year, not in the 1st year when it started. And secondly, if that was important, then that means everyone I talk to the next 20 years, I'm not telling them the truth that they have the same opportunity that we have. And I got to tell you, I want to be at the company. You know what I love about what we have right now? I can look anybody in Market America, Market Australia in the eye, and I can say, you have a 10 times better opportunity than either I had or Dennis had, or even anybody who started 18 years ago or 10 years ago had, because you have all these things in place right now to really build this that none of us had. You know, people forget about they see the people who made it, they forget about all the people who didn't. And that's why it's important to understand these things.
One more thing about getting into the ground floor. Usually you want to get in something like that if it's not going to be around a long time. Remember the kind of company we are as a product broker, and you already have very good evidence that people not only buy our products once, but literally buy them over and over again. And we do know that people, when you're building new product sales, it's easier to sell to an existing customer than to go out and get a new customer. And so in our case, we've got the products that basically keep regenerating themselves. So
Right.
we don't have to worry about, hey, let me get you into this before everybody gets into. No, let me get you into a business that
Right.
have products that are in demand. So again, this leaves a great opportunity to build a counter to anyone that says, get in on the ground floor. Um, Other things that we talk about is when somebody promises there's no meetings. I want to be very clear, and Jim, I know you have something to say about this. I want to make this very clear that if you think you're going to build a distribution company online and train the people that represent your products, everything online, it ain't so. You really have to build relationships and community. You've heard the statement that you need to build a tribe, a following, and you do that by these types of trainings and events where people come together, moving in the right direction. So when somebody's saying you don't have to go to meetings, what are they really telling you? They're going back to say you don't have to do much to make money, which that's impossible. Jim?
Yeah, and I think in today's society more than ever, people are looking for a place to belong and be together. And I don't know about all of you, but every time I just came back from a moving up seminar that I conducted with Elizabeth Weber and Carl Eklund. Well, I got to tell you, I'm fired up because I was there training with top trainers. If you're not surrounded, and Lauren called it in the right atmosphere, you don't do as much or anything at all. These meetings and trainings are vital, and they just become part of what you do. And if someone says they're not important, that's like telling somebody, yeah, and you never have to go into work either. Just stay home and sleep all day, and you'll get paid. It makes no sense. So use some common sense, guys. Right? That's what we're really talking about here. And the same with a low entry cost, Dennis. I mean, we've run into this over the years, and where people talk about, well, but they're only $49 or they're 69. And I remember once I got recruited by another company, and they didn't know what I was making in Market America, and they called me, and the guy had his senior partner on the phone, and he was telling me it was only $29 to get involved, and he'd been in the business 3 or 4 years. He had 3,000 people, and all you do is put them on auto ship. The sort of same thing you hear all the time. Nobody bought product when they came in. The way you got product was you then ordered it later on. And I said to him, you got 3,000 plus people. How much are you making? This guy was a doctor talking to me, and he said, I'm making $3,000 a month. Now, the funny thing was he didn't know what I was doing. And Market America at that time, I'd been in a little over 3 years. I was making over $20,000 a month. And I had 1/3 of the people that he had. I had nowhere near as many people. It doesn't make sense. Again, if somebody wants to come in and for a low entry cost, we do have that availability with our sales rep option, and we have that availability with just doing the subscription. So people can do that. But if you don't get product and you don't move product, and moving product is something you're going to hear Dennis, Kevin, and I talk about nonstop, is retailing. It doesn't work, and you need product to move product.
I want to also comment on the low entry cost, and that a lot of people don't understand that usually many companies will come out and have a pay plan that you may come in for $29.95 or $69.95, and what you get in return is you get to buy the product at retail minus 30%. So they're selling it as a personal use discount.
Yeah.
And I want to just bring this point up. I think everybody has heard of Herbalife, a wonderful company. They've been around a long time, but they just got done going through litigation of years. Now, try to understand this. A billion-dollar company like Herbalife primarily was accused of being an illegal pyramid. And the answer was because they didn't have evidence that they had end consumers not in the business buying product. And that's exactly what a lot of MLM companies do. They say, well, why buy it at retail? Join the company and you get it for 30% less. They're not saying then turn around and build a business. They're just saying get more wholesale buyers in here that are going to be personal users. And that's really not who we are or what we want to be. We are basically qualifying for business owners who want to create the kind of income that is substantial, that is validated by people basically buying at retail, creating a retail profit, as well as a commissionable income. And one more comment about the no meeting thing. I want to make this very clear to everybody. To be successful as an unfranchised owner, it takes work. And it is running a marathon. A marathon's running 26 miles. And primarily, as I see our trainings and our meetings or events, I see them as measurement points. I see them where you build from event to event. It's running a marathon in a series of short sprints that you set your goals for, the number of people you're talking to, the number of plans you're showing, the number of products that you sell, the building of share of customer, all of these different things. And it can be measured when you come together at each of the events. I think it's critical in what we do here. And so again, really, really exceptional in what we offer. Jim, why don't you talk about this?
I had to have a little fun as we were talking, because, as we talk, we talk about direct sales, or we talk about all these different ways of having a business multi-level. You hear of unilevel, you hear of, well, you also hear of corporations. And, the first thing I noticed when I came to our business was that the organization, as it grew, looked like the corporations I had worked at. I had worked for two owners before directly, and the owner was always at the top, and then there were executives, and then there were department heads, and then there were office staff, and every layer it went down, they made less money and they had more issues to deal with. Now in our business, you've got that same look of the way it builds, but here's the difference. That person at the bottom may be the person who becomes the top earner in the company. You know what I love is right now, you guys got to get excited. Every time you walk out and talk to somebody, the next person could be the top earner in Market Australia. We don't know when they're going to come or when the next one will happen, but when they do, it doesn't matter positionally where they are. It matters in a corporate environment. You are not going to make more than your boss. I did it once in 12 years, and they changed my entire compensation plan so that I wouldn't do it again the next time. So that's all I have as I look at this. I want to make sure we understand the structure is not unusual, guys. If you drew out where you work right now, it probably looks a lot like the structure we have.
Jim, this also depicts something very special. Very rarely does the manager or the person at the top want people to rise up to new levels of income and responsibilities. They want you to take on more responsibilities, but not necessarily provide you the income. Think about the way we've set our corporate structure up in the field. We are looking to lift people to new levels of success. And this is something that everyone in Market Australia needs to understand. Your responsibility is to build leadership and to build success stories. Don't worry so much about your income, because if you are able to take the individuals that are part of your distribution chain and lift them up to create a residual income that they have set for their goals, you have created a great deal of security. If you take a look at Jim, if you take a look at my incomes, they are secured by other directors, executive directors, field vice presidents in our organizations that in some cases they actually earn more than we do, but they are the security of a lifetime of residual income. And sometimes I just don't understand when people in the field hold their teams back from growing. That is so multi-level thinking. Because I just want to go back here. The problem with multi-level marketing in most cases, I have seen every time you support somebody in your organization to grow to a level, they literally either break away or you are rewarded by earning less income. And
Dennis, what do you mean by break away? So people understand that, when that was one of my first things I looked at when I I was I said, how can that be? And I'd never heard of it until I researched it. Why do you let people know what that might be like?
All right. Well, in multi-level marketing structures, basically, it's exactly what it says. You are getting paid 100% on the people you sell to, but you are only getting paid X number, a limited amount of levels of success. So as success grows in your organizations, you basically will be limited to the amount of people you can earn from. Meaning, so let's just say if I was your sponsor, and to be able to get to the next income level, you had to have 10 personally sponsored, and you had to do $3,000 in production each and every month. When you did that, you would go from 5% to 10% earnings off of one of your levels. Now, when you reach that goal, that 5 to 10% from that level basically took my 10% and reduced it down to 5%.
Right.
So literally, by you succeeding, I basically earned less. So that's why more people in multi-level marketing are concerned to build wide by always sponsoring somebody else versus supporting somebody within the team to become successful. And it is completely opposite when it comes to our unfranchised management performance compensation plan.
Yeah, and you know what's fun? Our plan, when Jared built this, Dennis hit that so perfect because I started looking at these companies. I'm like, well, if you help somebody really get there, you're basically losing what you were getting paid on them for all the work you've done. Here, you help. There's people, I know, Dennis, you helped get started and built with in the field. You're in the homes, you're working with them. People I did, that 22 years later, all that volume is still coming up and paying us. And every time Dennis and I add a new person to the business, it goes to the bottom and it supports the people coming up, not to the side where it separates. And these are enormous differences between, why do they call it multi-level? Because they pay on levels. We have a pay plan that searches to infinity. Some of my top earners are well below 300 levels below me. We were just on this weekend talking about this, where they came in 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that are growing like crazy. And the ones who are there maybe 22 years ago, hey, they're great. But they're not, if they don't build as hard, they don't get paid as much. So it's not based on levels, it's based on production. Again, just like when we compared it to a traditional business. Traditional business, you get paid on production. We get paid on production.
Absolutely. I want to just talk for a moment because many of us, you said it early on, there's some fear if somebody says, oh, I know all about this. It's one of those things. Is it a multi-level marketing? Is it a pyramid type business? And it's really important that you understand that you should not be defensive on how you respond. You should not look like a deer in headlights saying, oh my God, you asked me that, you said that, I don't know what to do. That is totally the wrong way to respond. You should totally be thankful that somebody brings that up. In fact, one of my favorite responses is that I'm glad you brought that up. Before I can answer that effectively, can you tell me what a pyramid type business is? Or what's been your experience? I'm not quick to say no. I'm just wanting to know, help me understand what your comment or question means. Because if you understand what their comment or question means, it's easier for you to respond. And I think it's important that you understand in this case that we are in a situation that we have a tremendous amount of strengths that we can share with someone. So I just wanted to bring that up. Jim, why don't you go ahead?
Dennis, I loved your answer on that because I go the same way with it. A lot of times I'll say, I can see why you might think that. What's your experience, or what is your definition of that? And you know what, I don't know about you, what I typically get back when I ask them what are they thinking, their number one thing is, if I get, are you always going to earn off of me and I can never make more than you, is one of them, because they're thinking you got to be at the top. And I love telling them, I said, that's exactly what I thought, because I did. When my friend introduced me to this business, I said, can I make more than you? And if he had said no, I wasn't going to do it. And that's funny, because in a job interview, you'd never say that to someone interviewed, but because it was a business, I felt I should have that ability to make more. So when you really dig in, what you'll find out is most people don't even know what they're asking on there. And what they are asking is something pretty simple for you to be able to ask, but you have to turn it back to them a little bit.
And adding on to that, there are some individuals who are looking for something that's ground floor. So let's just think about that for a minute. What do you mean? Well, they're looking for a quick buck. All right. They're looking for a quick return. And I just want you to understand this, that we're in a gig economy right now. We're in an economy where people are trying to make ends meet by creating some immediate income. That's not who we are. We are the company that provides the solution for the person that does not have enough money or are not living to the means that they want for their family and for themselves. So please don't get us confused here. So if somebody is looking and says to you, well, you've been around too long, you're old news, and you need to say, I am so glad you brought that up. And the reason why we are great news is because people want our products. They're in demand. We are an establishment. We are a company that has proven itself through 28 years of business, through 93 consecutive quarters of growth. We are a company that provides products that are bought over and over again, and being a product broker, we are able to introduce the hot products at the right times. So again, you have to get yourself comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you cannot think on your feet. If you cannot think on your feet, you cannot respond responsibly and intelligently, because this is a test, people. People are going to push you and see how you respond, because they're deciding whether or not you're capable of teaching them the unfranchised business. That's another part where you're interviewing them, they're interviewing you, and they want to see that you're confident in accepting or taking in an opportunity either to learn more or to help correct their thinking. Okay. So again, Jim, why don't you go through the strengths of our performance compensation plan? I think it's pretty powerful, and everybody needs to have this in their mind.
Yeah, and look, we've hit on some of these, so I'll go through them in a quick manner in some ways, but I want you to really hit them, and Dennis will jump in. Proven plan. Dennis just talked about this. Hey, I got news. There's no company in business for 28 years that's a brokerage company that deals with products unless the product works. So if somebody is talking about either the length of the time of the company or a ground floor opportunity, I always go back to, you know what I love? It's proven. Other people have done it. If they've done it, you can do it if you're willing to do the work they do. It's not a maybe. It's not I hope. It's not maybe. Hopefully this is what will happen. It does work. Here's how it works. Let's do it together. From a brokerage standpoint, we hit this earlier, the ability to move into different areas. We're doing that right now. We're looking what's out there. You know, as a company, really one of our mission is finding what's out there that's hot, going and getting it and bringing it out. You know what that means for you? And Dennis, I wanted to add, this is a point when you were talking about the business, you know, we're not the Uber driver, we're Uber. We're talking about residual income, not a one-time trip. And that's what you need to be talking residual income every time you talk to people, or long-term income, however you want to define it and talk about it. But that's what, you know, that's what attracted me to this business. I could have gone a lot of ways in a lot of areas to make money. So can a lot of you. but there's very few ways in our life we can make residual. That used to be for the elite. It used to be for the writers and the song singers and the authors. We have a business where you can create residual income, and please use that and talk about that during your presentation, because that is our, it's what makes us different from everything else as well. And we prove it. People say, I want to make money fast. Well, great. Dennis and I have a great philosophy, and Dennis really taught me this big time. My first year, I wasn't a big retailer, and I went on a moving up seminar, and Dennis sat down and he really talked about base 10, 7 strong and creating a customer base. And to me, that change is one of the changing points in my business, because once I developed a customer base, and I, more so than even me, because I by that time I was selling products as I showed the plan, but teaching my team that everybody needs 10, 15, 20 customers, real customers who reorder at retail. I could get someone out of the gates. I could start a new person and they could make $100 retail profit or a $200 retail profit. Do you know how important that is mentally to get them to get that profit right away? And that's one of the first things we need to do with our new people is immediate retail profits. A sponsoring payoff, give me a break. Give me $25 to sponsor somebody and then they're gone. How about I teach someone how to make a $25 retail profit and it pays them every month for the next 10 years when somebody reorders? And Dennis, jump in on anything that you want here as I'm going through, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead. You brought something up here that just lights my fire. I mean, if anybody ever understood leverage, okay, and if they understand that we're the 2 to 3 year plan, can you imagine that if you took your first year in learning the business, okay, and you spent 24 hours a day doing the business, okay, you would make progress, okay, and you'd sell some product and maybe you'll start moving your business, but you have no life. But think about this when you leverage. If you took time, just 10 hours a week or 12 hours a week in teaching 10 other people how to do the business, okay? Over 52 weeks, if let's just say for easy math, 10 hours a week, you would put in 520 hours. Well, if you can imagine, if you take that first year and put those 10 hours in teaching 10 people how to do the business, the second year, you now have 11 people spending 10 hours a week, or you're putting something like 110 hours of work times 50, and you have thousands of hours of return. So again, it's not about just sponsoring people, it's about sponsoring people that want to do the business and leverage the duplication effort that you put into this. And so we just have to think about that, because business volume is 100% value to everyone that is in your line of sponsorship, which is just over the top. And it's the same when you're purchasing on shop.com and you get internet business volume, and it accrues month to month when you're on what we call our auto ship program. It's really powerful.
Yeah. Moving down this is volume search to infinity. No levels, no breakaways. Wherever those people are in your business, you're going to get credit on that. And that's part of that residual that comes up with that. That's a very important, again, what makes us different? I want certain things. That's a big one for us. The volume accruing, like Dennis talked about, if you're meeting our minimum monthly requirements. When I was looking at all these different companies and researching them, the one thing I kept seeing is they wipe their volume away every month. Now, if you wipe your volume away every month, how does a part-time person ever get there any traction? And here we allow it to accrue, and Jared was brilliant with this, 365 days on an ongoing basis. And then volume and people placement. So having the ability to place volume down into your own centers, or to place it into the person you've personally sponsored that you identified one person a quarter. And of course, now with Master UFO, everybody who's watching this right now, your focus, and Dennis and I have said this for years, not because of now you get a second placement because Master UFO is building the business. It's doing all the different things. But you can place volume and you can place people. I'm a numbers guy. I love the math of the business. And I love when you can look at it and say, hey, okay, this side isn't as strong as my other side. What are the numbers I need to do? How many people would I need there? How much would I need to increase my volume with the existing team to match that up there? Because it can happen by either people or increased volume. I can tell you're smiling, Dennis. Say something.
You're talking my language, because in this business, you can make more money with less people.
Yes.
Because they're in business and you're not depending on an auto ship for personal use on a monthly basis.
Right.
You've got real life people doing things and making things move. You know, I love the ability to earn from multiple centers. I think it's great that you can own it. How about this, Jim? That there's only one overhead on your first business, and whether you open your second, third, or fourth, there is no overhead. Other companies, basically, if you open a second business, you've got a second overhead. It certainly is that.
I don't think everyone understands that you have one auto ship. And Dennis, if he has 6 businesses paying him weekly, he has one auto ship. That's his only overhead. Now, when Dennis had 7 mailboxes, etc., did you have to pay rent on all those and employees on all those, or just one of them, Dennis?
No, I paid rent on all 7 locations, not to mention I had to pay the upfront franchising fee of $50,000 on each store to get the same book 7 times.
I don't even, that looks like it just hurts saying it out loud again.
Ouch, ouch.
Yeah. You know, I remember showing this model to my dad, and my dad saying, so you're telling me when you get a second business, you don't have to pay more to get it, you don't have to do more to every month that you just got to build another organization. I said, yes. My dad said, this is the most incredible thing I have ever seen. You know, and he had worked for GE with Jack Welch for a long period of time, and he understood business. And guys, sometimes I think we don't understand what we have in our hands, or we get comfortable with it. So, you know, look at things like a willable asset. I mean, you know, unfortunately, all of us are going to get older at some point. And I'll tell you one thing Lisa and I love, and I know, Dennis, you've got this set up. We have our business set up to go to our kids if something happens to us. If it happens to one of us, it'll go to the other. If it happens to both of us, we know our kids are going to have money coming in from what we've built. That's important to us rather than trading time for money with what we're doing.
You know, the one thing that I will say, I can right off the top of my head, 3 very close friends of mine and yours that have passed basically have been able to take care of their spouse with the residual income. And in one case, we just lost Tony and Pam Bowling.
Yes.
They passed, and they have left their executive field vice presidents. They had left their residual income, divided it up to their nieces and nephews. It's just amazing if you think about it. It's like building this huge asset that it pays us, and then when we're all done, we can pass it on so that your next generation can work it. So it's pretty cool. And one other thing, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
One other thing I was saying, when we were talking about the organizational structure built, that there is, there's an economic incentive for people to help one another. I think that's so powerful. And the fact that you only have to focus on 2 organizations to grow a significant income. I mean, I just get anybody that has ever been in multi-level marketing, if they stop and see what we have created here, the light bulb goes on. And if the light bulb goes on, they're not the kind of person that we need in the business. Yeah,
and you know, when we talk significant, where else can you, and Dennis, you said this with your past experience, 2 organizations to you seem like a piece of cake. JR cannot understand why everybody doesn't build 2, because he was building 35 or 36. But to make a 6-figure income off of 2 organizations is that, and the lifestyle you get because you do that really is incredible. And of course, now we've added everything globally that we can do as a business, where you have the ability to build in other countries and build multiple businesses with that as well.
Right, absolutely. And the fact that we use consumable products, we have a global meeting training seminar system. It's very exciting to see that we have an open system where people can come in cross-line. And this is something that all of Australia needs to understand. We've got very strong GMTSS presence in Sydney, in Melbourne, and in Perth. And everybody in each of those cities should be building in the other cities. And we've got some teams starting up now in Queensland, and that's important, in Adelaide. So again, we're going to continue to grow, and this open training system will only help you grow faster.
I'd like to make a comment on that, Dennis, because I ran into that this weekend a little bit, and I'll talk to you afterwards. We got some areas we're going to need to do some work with in the U.S. to get them where they need to be. But the GMTSS, again, you look at what makes us different, and there's an unfranchised way of doing business. There's not a Sydney way or a Melbourne way or an Atlanta in the US way. There's an unfranchised way, and that is in the GMTSS, and it's got to be inclusive. It's got to be everybody can participate. And I want to make sure everybody on this call, this is again a major difference. Here, when other people succeed who are not in your organization, it doesn't take from what you have, it adds, because your team sees success. And then again, if success is going on, that helps everybody. So please make that global meeting and training seminar system something that's inclusive of everybody, because you want other people to succeed regardless of lineage on your team or someone else's. That's what will explode Australia, is when we cross-pollinate into these different areas and we have that. And the last strength we have listed is our shopping annuity, which of course is, really common sense. Get paid on everything you do. And I just think more people are getting this now. Keep the basics, show the plan, use and sell the products, attend and promote events, build in the homes, and get paid on everything you do. That's what the shopping annuity is.
I want to just stop here and make sure everybody understands. We just talked about the real big pieces of why the unfranchised business is such a strong business for people to consider and be a part of. But I do want to just say a couple other things. Number one, I want to talk to network marketing. And what is network marketing? Ladies and gentlemen, network marketing is a form of marketing where you meet people. And networking is universal to anyone in business. Anybody that sells service or products, they use network marketing. And it's important, once again, that you should not be set back if somebody says, is this network marketing? Your response should simply be, isn't every business using network marketing? Because they are trying to categorize you or say something like, is this multi-level marketing? So networking is critical to any business. So let's just make that very clear. That should never be an issue. And when they're saying, is this multi-level marketing? Remember what we talked about. Can you give me an idea of what multi-level marketing is, or what respect do you ask that question? I'm glad you asked the question. But again, multi-level marketing, anytime somebody shows me a plan, and I look at plans because I'm a student of the business. I'm a professional networker that has chosen the unfranchised business, okay? When somebody shows me a multi-level marketing pay plan and there are 7 or 8 ways to earn money, it's a scam. And I'll tell you why. Nobody is going to earn the 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th, or 7th, or 8th way to make money. They're just putting that out there. The bottom line is there's only so much profit in a dollar than what's taken in. And before you know it, by the time you get up to the 8th way of making money in a company, there is no money, okay? And if there is money, there's enough money for 1 or 2 or 3 people. That's one thing that is like a red flag for me. It's real simple here. You've got business volume commissions. You've got a management bonus for helping someone to become successful and hit 5,000 and 5,000. That's it. Now, after you get done building the business and building the organization, the only smart thing to do is buy from yourself. You buy from yourself because you own the business and you create internet business volume. And guess what we did? We gave you another pay plan based on converting your spending into earning and leveraging your business organization. Does everybody get this? All right. That is an amazing business. That's 3 ways to earn income, 3 distinct ways. But I want everybody to understand the first way, and Jim hit on this early on, is get your base 10. Start generating retail profits because cash flow is king. Okay.
Yes.
And if a pyramid type business comes up, I want you to be very clear to say, can you explain what you mean there? Because pyramids are illegal. They're companies that you have to pay for the opportunity to recruit somebody. Okay. And so I just want you to know that. It's very important.
Yeah, and pyramid, the definition of a pyramid problem or a Ponzi scheme is the last ones in lose. When you're a retailing business, you're always making money no matter what. See, that's the problem when you look at those. That's why Dennis is hitting this and hitting retail and understanding it. Guys, we've spent an hour talking about differences and what's going on and residual income. A lot of times you don't realize, I want you to understand, you don't really realize your residual income until you need it. You realize it when you're stop hustling for a little bit because something in life comes in. But you only have residual income. I hear companies talk about it all the time that are gone in 2 years. I hear J.R. Ridinger talk about it, and he talks about it for the next 50 years, and he is doing everything in his power to make sure it's a lifetime of residual income. It's only meaningful with longevity.
A big point to remember, there's a difference between residual income and passive income. We are not selling passive income. Please don't say that. Residual income is where you work your butt off until you start getting ongoing income. But residual income is where there still is maintenance needed to keep the income coming in. Okay, the best example I've ever seen is what JR talks about when he's pumping water out of a well. When you first start going after the water, you pump very hard to pull that water up to the surface. And once the water comes to the surface, you still have to pump, but it's a very easy and relaxed pump. So it's the same thing. You're building your business, you're working hard for the 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, and then for the rest of the time, you are maintaining it, not overworking, but you're going with it, supporting the team along the way. So residual income is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, 28 years of doing this business, Jim's 23. The beautiful thing is every week that income is coming. It's meaningful income, and you can have it too. That's what's so important to remember. It's about longevity, and 28 years proves that we're in business for the right reasons. We make decisions for the right reasons. And I will say this as being a part of this from the very beginning, I can say and recommend this business to anyone who is looking for options to improve their financial position. This is an option you want to look at. I urge each and every one of you to be confident when you go out. Don't be belligerent, don't be overconfident, but I want you to feel comfortable when talking about this topic with people, because it's a topic that people are thinking anyway. And so you have to be comfortable so they can be comfortable. And believe it or not, it's going to work out just fine either way, whether they do the business or not do the business. If they do the business, the learning process begins. If they don't do the business, you go back and talk to them 3 months later, and you keep going back until they become part of the business, as I did with J.R. Ridinger. So what I want to say here is, Jim, I don't know, we can maybe, Loosby, are you still on? Are there any questions you want to share with us? Maybe 2 or 3?
Hi, Dennis and Jim. Yes, there's a couple questions. The first one is from Terry Tan. Will the slides of the PowerPoint will be available?
Yes, we're going to make the recording available for everyone to go back through. Jim, I don't see why those slides can't.
Well, you know what makes me always laugh, Dennis? You know where most of those slides came from?
Can I guess?
They came from the basic 5, guys. So yeah, we'll make them available, but if you want them right now, you can go to the basic 5 and get a lot of those right there, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Second question is, how do we answer the objection to buy the minimum 50 BBs? For some people, it feels like it's a force to sell.
You're correct. And you see, the question that was just asked, and Jim, you can comment on this. Apparently, the person who was brought into our business was told they did not have to sell.
Yes.
And that is wrong. We do not join the unfranchised business to buy it wholesale for personal use. We join the unfranchised business to get our product for free at the least and support 3 to 5 customers. And ultimately, hopefully, they're coming in to earn income. So auto ship is a way that we can prove people are actively doing the business, because the Form 1000 that has to be put in validates that products are getting to end consumers outside of the business. So we're not going to get into the problem that Herbalife had, or Advocare have, or Vima has been shut down with, or Mona V had been shut down with, and all the other companies, because they took the low road. They took the shortcut.
Yeah, you can't, I'd like to add on, you can't sell products you don't have. So you can't have a Form 1000 if you don't have some products coming in. And JR put it that way. And a team that's watching this is where you have to change your approach talking with people. And it has to become, we're building base 10-7 strong. When someone says, I'm getting out of the business because it's costing me money, I want to go directly to their sponsor, because I know immediately they were brought in the wrong way. Because A, you're getting the products at wholesale pricing, unfranchised cost, so you're saving money, you should be using them. And B, you should be creating a retail base with that. So that should never be an issue if you explain how to retail products.
One more comment to that, because now I'm getting irritated, and I love everybody in us. I love everybody in our business.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're teaching recruiting to buy products for less, you're teaching multi-level philosophy.
Yes.
And multi-level is not who we are. Remember what I said, you can earn more money with less people because they're actually doing the business. And the number of people in your organization doesn't matter if they're not building the business. You have to get that in your mind. Yeah. And I know it feels uncomfortable, but that is what you are representing. And if you're just selling for wholesale product, then you're misrepresenting what you have.
And you can change it so simply. The same person who wants it the products at wholesale, that's fine, as long as they agree to do a product presentation and invite a bunch of people over, and you go in and you help them generate customers. Now you've changed everything. They're still getting the products, but now they've generated 5 to 10 customers. They're actually making money, getting products at a better price, all because you added one simple step of, we're going to have a night we get together and talk about products and get you customers. You guys can change this so easy.
Lisby, any other questions?
No more questions.
Okay, wonderful. Jim, final comments.
I would just say use this with your teams who weren't on. Like Dennis said, we're going to have a recording on it. Be proud of what you have. The more you look, the more you'll understand why. I know Dennis, Kevin, and I and the team are so committed to Australia, and we look forward to some great growth, and hopefully things like this will help you along the way as you go out and you meet with people.
And I can only say I feel the same way. I believe there's a great future for us if we're willing to work together, if we're willing to work the proven plan. And yes, it's work, but the reward is so very good. Creating residual income changes the entire game, Phil, and you can have the things that most people just dream about. I look forward to seeing you coming up in November. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you to Lisby Hernandez, who is monitoring this webinar today. And of course, to our great staff, Kylie, Jacqueline, thank you for all the team at Market Australia. We appreciate you so much. And team, let's grow. Let's do something positive for your business as we move forward.
Have a great night, everyone.